She told me we needed space. Her GPS said another man's address. My name is Marcus Webb, and I'm from Austin, Texas. I'm a 34-year-old software engineer who believed marriage meant forever. I believed in trust, loyalty, and working through problems together. For 8 years, I loved the same woman with everything I had. We'd been married for 3 of those years. Her name was Lila, and she was a social media marketer with a smile that could light up entire rooms. I thought I knew her better than anyone. Turns out, I didn't know her at all. The words came out of nowhere on a Tuesday evening. Marcus, I need space. Lila stood in our living room, arms crossed, looking everywhere except at me. I need to find myself. Work's been overwhelming, and I just feel lost. My heart dropped into my stomach. We'd been together for 8 years, married for 3. How could she feel lost with me right there? I asked if we could talk about it, maybe see a counselor. She shook her head. I just need time alone, to think, to breathe. I wanted to argue, to demand answers, but I'd always been the calm one, the patient one. So I swallowed the pain and nodded. Okay, whatever you need. She looked relieved. That should have been my first warning sign. When someone you love asks for space and looks happy about it, something's already gone terribly wrong. The next morning, I helped her pack an overnight bag. She moved through our bedroom like a stranger, grabbing clothes without thought. I'll stay with Jessica for a while, she said, mentioning her college friend. I folded one of her sweaters, hands shaking slightly. How long do you think you'll need? She shrugged. I don't know. A few weeks maybe. A few weeks felt like forever. She zipped the bag and turned to me. The hug she gave me was light, almost formal. No warmth, no real emotion in her eyes. Just nothing. As she walked to her car, I stood in the doorway watching. She threw the bag in the back seat and started the engine. Through the window, I could see the GPS screen still glowing. It showed a destination address, but from where I stood, I couldn't read it. She backed out of the driveway without looking back. The house felt immediately empty, hollow, like she'd taken all the air with her. I couldn't stop thinking about that GPS screen. Around midnight, unable to sleep, I remembered something. Our cars were linked to the same navigation app for trip planning. I grabbed my phone and opened it with trembling fingers. The GPS history loaded slowly. Her last entered destination wasn't Jessica's house in the suburbs. It was an apartment complex downtown called Riverside Towers. I'd never heard of it. More importantly, I'd never heard her mention anyone who lived there. My chest tightened. I zoomed in on the map. The address was 847 Riverside Drive, Unit 204. I screenshotted it, my hand shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe Jessica had moved and hadn't told me. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. But deep in my gut, where instinct lives, I knew something was horribly, devastatingly wrong. The woman I married was lying to me. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in our bed, my bed now, I guessed, staring at the ceiling. Every moment of the past few months replayed in my mind like a horror movie. The late text replies. Sorry, busy with a client. The sudden weekend work trips. Big campaign launch, babe. The new perfume she started wearing. Just wanted something different. The way she started putting her phone face down on tables. The password she changed on her laptop. For security reasons. How had I been so blind? Each memory felt like a puzzle piece clicking into place, forming a picture I desperately didn't want to see. By morning, my eyes were red and dry. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. The face staring back looked older somehow. Tired. Betrayed. I splashed cold water on my face and made a decision. I needed proof before I destroyed everything on a hunch. The next day at work, I could barely focus. My mind kept drifting to that address. During lunch, I did something I'm not proud of. Years ago, when Lila traveled alone for work, I'd installed a location-sharing app on her phone for safety. She'd agreed to it then. We both had it. Just in case something happens, she'd said. I'd forgotten about it until now. I opened the app with my heart pounding. The little blue that representing Lila appeared on my screen. She was at her office downtown. Normal. I watched it for an hour. At 2 p.m., the dot started moving. It headed toward Riverside Towers. My blood ran cold. The dot stopped at that exact address. 847 Riverside Drive. She stayed there for 3 hours. At 5 p.m., she moved back to her office. At 7 p.m., she returned to Riverside Towers. She was there right now. If you're enjoying this story so far, please take a moment to like this story and also hit the subscribe button to get notified of our new series. Saturday morning, I drove to Riverside Towers. I told myself I was just confirming the address. Just seeing what kind of place it was. The building was nice, modern, expensive looking. I parked across the street and sat there feeling pathetic. What was I doing? Spying on my own wife? But I couldn't leave. Around 11 a.m., I saw her. Lila walked out of the building's front entrance wearing the blue dress I bought her for her birthday. She was smiling, looking at her phone. My heart twisted. She got into her car and drove away. I waited 10 minutes, then walked to the building. An elderly man was checking his mailbox in the lobby. I tried to look casual. "Excuse me, do you know who lives in Unit 204? He looked up, friendly. "Oh, that's Daniel's place. Nice young man. Works downtown somewhere." He paused. "His girlfriend visits a lot. Pretty brunette. You know her?" The world tilted. Girlfriend. The word echoed in my skull. I mumbled something and left. I drove home in a daze. Part of me wanted to scream. To drive back there and kick down that door. To call Lila and demand the truth. But another part, the part that had always made me good at problem solving, stayed cold and calculating. If I confronted her now, she'd just lie. She'd gaslight me. Tell me I was paranoid. Crazy. I needed more than a neighbor's gossip. I needed undeniable proof. That evening, I texted Lila. "Hey, just checking in. Hope you're getting the space you need. I'm here if you want to talk." She replied 20 minutes later. "Thanks, babe. I really appreciate you being so understanding. I love you, red heart." I stared at that heart emoji. How could she send me that while sleeping with someone else? How could someone lie so easily? I typed back, "Love you too." The words felt like poison on my tongue. But I hit send, because now I was playing a different game. One she didn't know had started. Over the next week, I became someone I didn't recognize. Every night after work, I gathered evidence. I accessed our shared phone plan and downloaded call logs. Hundreds of calls to one number. I ran it through a reverse lookup. Daniel Pierce. I checked our credit card statements. The ones linked to her card I'd always paid off. Dinners at expensive restaurants. Hotels. A jewelry purchase for $300. None of it for me. I backed up her text messages from our cloud account. The backup was automatic. She'd probably forgotten about it. I couldn't bring myself to read them yet. Just knowing they existed was enough. I created a folder on an encrypted drive and labeled it Truth. Every screenshot, every statement, every receipt went in there. My lawyer would need this. Because I was done pretending everything was fine. I was done being the understanding husband. Now I was documenting the death of my marriage. On Thursday evening, Lila texted asking if she could come by to talk. My stomach nodded. Maybe this was it. Maybe she'd confess everything. Maybe there was still a chance to salvage something. She arrived at 7 p.m., looking nervous. We sat on the couch where we'd spent countless movie nights. "Marcus, I've been thinking a lot," she started. "Here it comes," I thought. "The truth. Finally. I'm feeling really distant lately. From us. From everything." She twisted her hands together. "I think I need to move out for a while. Like, officially. Get my own place. Not a word about Daniel. Not a hint of confession. Just more lies wrapped in therapy speak." "How long?" I asked, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. She shrugged. "I don't know. Until I figure things out." The words sounded rehearsed. Practiced. She'd probably said them to Daniel first, testing how they sounded. I nodded slowly. if that's what you need." She looked relieved, actually relieved. "You're so understanding." "Thank you." She hugged me before leaving. I didn't hug back. That night I broke. Not in anger, in something colder. I sat on the kitchen floor with a glass of whiskey. I didn't drink and just felt it all. The betrayal, the humiliation, the death of everything I believed about us. But somewhere around 2 a.m., the grief transformed into clarity. I wasn't going to fall apart. I wasn't going to let her destroy me. I grabbed my laptop and started researching Texas divorce laws, asset protection, infidelity clauses. I read for hours, taking notes. In Texas, adultery doesn't automatically give you everything, but it matters. It can affect property division. It can affect alimony. Most importantly, I learned that proof changes everything. Accusations mean nothing without evidence. But documented, undeniable proof? That's power. By sunrise, I had a plan. Not revenge, justice. There's a difference. Revenge is emotional, messy, destructive. Justice is clean, calculated, and permanent. I was going to protect myself legally, financially, and emotionally. And she would never see it coming. Monday morning, I took a personal day and met with a lawyer named Patricia Gomez. Her office was downtown, discreet and professional. I'd found her through careful research. She specialized in high-conflict divorces and had a reputation for being thorough. I laid out everything. The GPS location, the neighbor's confirmation, the call logs and credit card statements. Patricia listened without interrupting, occasionally taking notes. When I finished, she leaned back. "You've done good work gathering this. Most people come in here with just feelings and suspicions." She pulled out a legal pad. "Here's what we're going to do. First, don't confront her yet. The moment you do, she'll get defensive and potentially hide assets or create false narratives." She outlined a strategy. Document everything. Secure our financial records. Change passwords on my personal accounts. Prepare for her to potentially make accusations against me. Cheaters often flip the script, Patricia warned. They'll claim you were controlling, abusive, neglectful, anything to justify their behavior. We scheduled follow-up meetings. I left her office feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks: control. Lila found an apartment within days. A small one-bedroom place on the east side. "Just temporary," she said, "until I figure things out." I helped her move. I carried boxes. I assembled furniture. I even paid her first month's rent when she claimed her account was temporarily low. The irony was suffocating. I was funding the apartment where she'd probably bring Daniel. She kissed my cheek as I left. "You're too good to me, Marcus. Seriously, most men would have made this so much harder." I smiled. "I just want you to be happy." The words tasted like ash, but I said them anyway, because I was playing the long game now. Let her think I was the understanding, supportive husband. Let her think she'd gotten away with it. Let her get comfortable in her lies. Because comfortable people get careless. And careless people make mistakes. I was waiting for hers. As I drove away from her new apartment, I felt nothing. The man who'd loved her desperately was gone. Someone colder had taken his place. Before Lila fully moved out, I did something that still makes me uncomfortable. I installed a small motion-activated camera in our shared car, the one she drove most often. It was hidden in the dash, barely visible. Technically legal since I co-owned the vehicle, but it felt wrong. Then again, so did infidelity. I justified it as protecting myself, gathering truth. 2 days later, the camera sent an alert to my phone. I was at work, in the middle of a meeting about server architecture, when the notification buzzed. I excused myself and went to the bathroom. My hands shook as I opened the footage. Lila pulled up to Riverside Towers. The passenger door opened. A man got in, tall, dark-haired, wearing an expensive suit. Daniel. They kissed immediately. Not a peck. A long, familiar kiss. The kind that showed history. Comfort. Intimacy. Then she drove off with him, laughing at something he said. I watched it 3 times. Each viewing hurt less. By the third, it felt clinical. Factual. This was who she really was. I downloaded the footage and added it to the Truth folder. I spent that evening researching Daniel Pierce. Social media made it horrifyingly easy. LinkedIn showed he was Lila's boss, VP of marketing at the same agency where she worked. His Facebook was semi-private, but his profile picture showed everything I needed to see. Daniel with a blonde woman and 2 young kids at the beach. The caption, "Family vacation with my beautiful wife Amanda and our angels." He was married, he had children, and he was sleeping with my wife. The betrayal had layers now. Lila wasn't just cheating on me. She was helping him cheat on his family. Those kids in the photo, probably around 5 and 7 years old, had no idea their father was destroying their world. I felt sick, but I also felt something else, certainty. This wasn't just about my broken marriage anymore. This was about exposing people who hurt others without consequence. I took screenshots of Daniel's family photos. They went into the folder too. Patricia needed to see exactly who we were dealing with. The next few weeks were strange. I withdrew emotionally but remained polite whenever Lila contacted me. Short texts, brief phone calls. I stopped asking when she'd come home because I knew she never would. Not really. At work, I threw myself into projects, stayed late, picked up extra responsibilities. My colleagues probably thought I was going through something, but no one asked directly. Good. I didn't want to explain. At night, I met with Patricia regularly, refining our strategy. We prepared divorce papers, documented every asset, every account, every shared possession, changed passwords on my email, banking, and social media. I even opened a new checking account and started directing my paycheck there. Financial protection, Patricia called it. When the truth comes out, people panic and do irrational things. We're making sure she can't drain accounts or create false charges. The preparation was meticulous, exhausting, but necessary. I was building a fortress around myself, one she couldn't breach. Then, unexpectedly, Lila showed up at the house on a Saturday morning. I was drinking coffee, reading the news, when her key turned in the lock. She walked in looking different, lighter, happier. "Hey," she said softly, "can we talk?" We sat at the kitchen table. She reached across and took my hand. "I've been doing a lot of thinking. About us. About what I want." My heart rate picked up. Was she about to confess? "I think I'm ready to work on things," she continued. "I miss you. I miss us. This space has helped me realize what's important." I stared at her, genuinely confused. What game was this? Was Daniel cooling off? Had his wife gotten suspicious? Really? I managed. She nodded, eyes glistening with what looked like real tears. "I was so lost, Marcus. But you've been so patient, so understanding. You remind me why I married you." Every word felt like manipulation, but I smiled. "I've missed you so much." I was speaking her language now. Lies dressed as love. "Let's work on this," I said. "Together?" She beamed. She had no idea the end was already written. I spent the next week planning something bold. Maybe too bold. But I was past caring about subtlety. Our 8th anniversary was coming up. 8 years together, though only 3 of them married. I texted Lila, "I want to celebrate us. Fancy dinner. The restaurant you've always wanted to try. Anniversary celebration. What do you say?" She responded immediately. "That sounds perfect." Smiling face with hearts. I made reservations at Castellano's, an upscale Italian place downtown. White tablecloths, candlelight, wine list thicker than a phone book. The kind of place where proposals happened, where anniversaries meant something. Then I made 2 additional calls. One to Daniel Pierce's office number. "Mr. Pierce, this is Marcus Webb. I have information regarding a professional matter that affects both you and your wife. I'd like to invite you and Amanda to dinner to discuss it privately. Saturday, 7 p.m., Castellanos." He tried to ask questions. I hung up. The second call went to Amanda Pierce. Same message. Both of them showed up. People are curious creatures, especially when their secrets are threatened. Saturday evening arrived. I got to the restaurant early and requested a private corner section. Lila arrived at 7, wearing a red dress, makeup perfect. She looked beautiful. It didn't matter anymore. "You look amazing," I said and meant it factually. We sat down. She was glowing, talking about her week when I saw them enter. Daniel and Amanda Pierce, looking confused and uncomfortable. "Marcus, what?" Lila started, but I gestured to the approaching couple. I invited some other guests. I thought we should all meet. The color drained from Lila's face. Daniel stopped mid-step, recognition and panic crossing his features. Amanda looked between all of us, confused. I pulled out a tablet. "I want to show you all something." I pressed play on the dashcam footage. The kiss, the laughter, the intimacy. The restaurant went quiet around our table. Amanda gasped, her hand covering her mouth. Daniel tried to speak. This is out of context, but the video didn't lie. Timestamps, clear faces, undeniable truth. Lila's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time, not manipulation. Fear. Amanda stood up so fast her chair fell backward. "You son of a bitch," she whispered to Daniel, her voice shaking. "Our kids are home with your mother right now, and She couldn't finish. She grabbed her purse and ran out. Daniel looked between me and Lila, his face red. "You had no right. This is private." "Private?" I cut him off. My voice was calm. Dead calm. "You've been sleeping with my wife. In secret. While lying to your family. While I paid her bills and believed her lies about finding herself." I looked at Lila. She was crying silently, mascara running. "You told me you needed space." My voice didn't waver. "You can have all of it now. All the space in the world." Daniel started to say something, but I held up my hand. "Leave. Both of you. Before I send this video to your HR department and every contact in your professional network." He left, practically running. Lila stayed, trying to speak. "Marcus, please let me explain." "There's nothing to explain. Enjoy your freedom." I left cash on the table for the wine we hadn't touched and walked out into the cool night air. Monday morning, Patricia's paralegal hand-delivered divorce papers to Lila's apartment. The timing was deliberate. After the weekend, before she could regroup, the petition cited adultery, included photographic and video evidence, and requested a division of assets that protected everything I brought into the marriage and earned since. It was thorough, brutal, and legally airtight. Simultaneously, I sent a formal complaint to Daniel's company HR department. Not the video. That would have been unprofessional. But a detailed letter outlining an inappropriate relationship between a supervisor and subordinate, including dates, locations, and the impact it had on my marriage. I noted that company funds may have been used for personal entertainment. HR departments hate liability. Within 48 hours, I heard through mutual connections that Daniel had been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. His wife had apparently filed for separation that same weekend. The dominoes were falling, and I was just getting started. Patricia called me that afternoon. "Lila's attorney wants to meet. She's panicking." "Good," I said. "Let her panic." But Lila didn't panic quietly. She went to social media. Vague posts about emotional abuse and controlling relationships. Nothing specific enough to be legally actionable, but enough to paint a picture. Sometimes the person who seems perfect is actually your prison. One post read. Comments poured in from people who didn't know the truth. "You're so brave. You deserve better. Men never change." I saw them all. Mutual friends started messaging me, asking if I was okay, if what she was saying was true. I didn't respond publicly. Instead, Patricia sent a cease and desist letter to Lila's attorney. Further defamatory statements will result in legal action. She also sent confidentially a full evidence packet to several key friends who'd asked me directly, people I trusted to quietly correct the narrative. Within days, the tide shifted. People who commented sympathetically on her posts quietly unfollowed her. Someone leaked that she'd been caught cheating with her married boss. Social media is a double-edged sword. She tried to use it as a weapon. It cut her instead. The fallout for Daniel was worse. His company took the investigation seriously. Too seriously for his comfort. They discovered he'd used company credit cards for several dinners that included Lila, technically allowed for business entertainment, but questionable given the relationship. They found performance reviews he'd written for her that were overly favorable compared to her peers. Favoritism, potential harassment, liability everywhere. He was demoted to a lateral position in a different department. His marriage collapsed publicly. Amanda filed for divorce and full custody. Friends chose sides. Most chose hers. Lila's career suffered too. Word spread fast in marketing circles. Clients who worked with her started requesting different account managers. Her social media following, important for her personal brand, started dropping. Campaigns she worked on were reassigned. She went from rising star to cautionary tale in weeks. I felt nothing watching it happen. No satisfaction. No guilt. Just completion. The truth had consequences. They were facing them. That's all I'd wanted. I sold the house. Too many memories. Too many ghosts. I'd bought it before we married, so legally it was mine to sell. I got a good price and bought a modern condo downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake. Minimalist furniture. Clean lines. Nothing that reminded me of before. I started therapy. Weekly sessions with a counselor who specialized in betrayal trauma. You're allowed to grieve, she told me. Even though you're handling this well legally, you still lost something real. She was right. I grieved. Not for Lila, for the version of her I believed existed. For the marriage I'd thought we had. For the future I'd imagined. But I also rebuilt. I joined a gym. Started playing guitar again, something I'd abandoned years ago. I traveled alone to Colorado for a week, hiking trails and sleeping under stars. I rediscovered who Marcus Webb was without anyone else defining him. I started dating casually, nothing serious. Just remembering what it felt like to talk to someone who was honest. A year after that dinner, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Marcus. Her voice was small, broken. It's me. Lila. I hadn't heard from her since the divorce finalized 6 months ago. I know I shouldn't call. I know you probably hate me. But I need you to know, I'm sorry. I was so stupid. So selfish. Silence. I didn't feel it. Daniel and I aren't together. Obviously. He went back to his wife. They're trying to work out for the kids. Her voice cracked. I lost everything. My job. My reputation. My friends. More silence. But worst of all, I lost you. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw you away for nothing. I could have said a lot of things. I could have been cruel. Instead, I said the only thing that mattered. I'm glad you finally realized what space feels like. Marcus, please. Goodbye, Lila. I hung up, blocked the number, and went back to living my life. Last week, I drove past Riverside Towers for the first time since that terrible Saturday morning. I was heading to meet friends for dinner, taking a route that happened to pass it. The building looked smaller somehow, less significant. I glanced at the GPS on my dashboard. No tracking apps, no surveillance, no need to know where anyone else was. Just me, heading somewhere I actually wanted to be. At a stoplight, I thought about the man I'd been a year ago, the one who'd helped his wife pack, who believed her lies, who'd checked GPS history in desperation. I felt sorry for him. But I also felt proud. He'd handled the worst moment of his life with dignity. He'd chosen justice over revenge. He'd protected himself without becoming cruel. The light turned green. I drove forward, leaving Riverside Towers behind. The tracking app I'd used to watch her lie was deleted months ago. Symbolic, maybe, but important. Because the man who'd once watched his wife's lies now lived freely in truth. And that freedom was worth every painful step it took to get here.